I never expected that a simple decision to work abroad would change not just my life, but the lives of an entire family I had yet to meet. My name is Maria, and this is my story. I left my hometown in Cebu with just a small suitcase and a heart full of hope, determined to provide for my family back home. I'd heard stories about how life abroad could be lonely and difficult, but nothing prepared me for the challenges and the lessons that awaited me in London. The family I worked for, the Thompsons, lived in a beautiful townhouse, but their home felt cold. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson were polite but distant, like two strangers sharing a roof. Their children, 10-year-old Emma and 8-year-old Jacob, had a politeness that felt forced, their eyes holding a sadness that spoke of years of silence. From the moment I stepped inside, I could feel the tension, an invisible wall that kept them all apart. On my first day, I introduced myself with a smile. "Good morning, I'm Maria. I hope I can make things easier for you." They nodded, but their guarded expressions told me they were wary. The children barely even looked at me. In those first few weeks, I focused on my work. I cleaned the house until it was spotless and cooked nutritious meals, but nothing changed. The house was immaculate, yet the atmosphere remained heavy. So I started to watch, to listen. I heard whispered arguments in the kitchen and witnessed silent dinners where no one made eye contact. Everyone kept to themselves. One evening, I overheard Mr. Thompson on the phone, his voice filled with despair. "She won't talk to me. Emma won't speak to me. Jacob just hides in his room all day." My heart ached for him. I knew then that my job was more than just cleaning and cooking. I had to find a way to break through the silence that was suffocating this family. My first breakthrough came unexpectedly. Emma was hiding in her room again, headphones on, skipping dinner. I knocked gently on her door. "Emma, would you like to help me bake some cookies?" I asked. She peeked out. Skeptical, why? She mumbled. I just smiled and said, "Because I need an expert cookie taster." She hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened the door. As we mixed flour and chocolate chips, something magical happened. She laughed at my clumsy attempts to crack eggs, and for the first time, I saw the walls around her begin to soften. The next day, she came out of her room on her own to help set the table for dinner. It was a small step, but it felt like a giant leap. Jacob was a different challenge. His sadness was quiet and deep. One rainy afternoon, I found him staring out the window. I sat beside him and offered him a small notebook and some colored pencils. "Would you like to draw with me?" I asked. He refused at first, but eventually he picked up a pencil. We spent hours sketching side by side, and slowly he started sharing things about his friends, his school, his feelings. Through these small, patient moments, I started building trust. The parents were watching from a distance. They seemed hesitant to join in, but they couldn't ignore the changes they were seeing. One evening, after a happy dinner where both kids were actually sharing stories, Mrs. Thompson turned to me. "Maria," she said softly, "I don't know how you do it. The children, they seem happier." I felt a lump in my throat. My presence was starting to heal cracks that had been there for years. I decided to introduce a tradition from my home in the Philippines. Every Sunday, I prepared a simple Filipino meal and encouraged the Thompsons to sit together, no distractions allowed. We ate, we shared stories, and sometimes we even laughed. I taught the children simple Tagalog words, and soon even the parents were trying to pronounce them. This little ritual slowly drew them closer. One cold December evening, an argument broke out over something trivial. Normally, this would have led to days of silence, but this time, I gently intervened. "I understand everyone is upset," I said quietly. "But maybe instead of being angry, we can try to talk and listen." They all paused and looked at me. To my surprise, Mr. Thompson spoke. "Maybe you're right. We should try." That night, for the first time since I arrived, they talked for hours, sharing feelings they had bottled up for years. It was the first time I saw a real connection between them. Over time, the family started to include me in their lives. I went to birthday parties, school events, and family outings. Emma and Jacob began confiding in me, sharing their secrets and dreams. The Thompsons started relying on me not just for chores, but as a confidant and a source of support. The transformation was slow, but it was real. One spring morning, Mrs. Thompson pulled me aside, her eyes misty. "Maria," she said, "we want to thank you. You've changed our family. You've brought us back together." I felt a surge of pride and humility. I had left my home to provide for my family, but in the process, I had helped another family find their way back to each other. It was a miracle that didn't require medicine or money, just compassion, patience, and a willingness to listen. The home was no longer a place of tension. It became a sanctuary filled with warmth and laughter. One evening, Emma ran up to me with a handmade card. On the cover, it said, "Thank you, Maria." Inside, she'd drawn a picture of all of us together, smiling. Jacob had added a little sketch of our family dinners. I held that card to my chest, tears welling in my eyes. I realized then that my work had become so much more than just a job. I had become a bridge between hearts. Months later, the Thompsons insisted I join them at the dinner table every night, not as their helper, but as part of their family. The children were thriving, and the parents had learned to communicate with kindness. It was a powerful reminder that sometimes healing a family just takes understanding and compassion. Years later, I'm back in the Philippines with my own family, but I still keep in touch with the Thompsons. Emma and Jacob have grown into kind and confident young adults. Their parents have maintained the strong bond we all nurtured together. My journey taught me that a Filipino heart can bridge any gap and mend any relationship, even in a foreign land. My story isn't just about being a maid who worked abroad. It's a reminder that the simplest acts of kindness can create miracles. The Thompsons taught me that families can be fragile, but they can always be mended. And sometimes it takes someone from the outside, someone with a fresh perspective and an open heart, to remind a family of what they've forgotten, that love and communication are the true foundations of home. Thank you for listening to my story.